artist by day and a freelance artist by night, tending to plants instead of deadlines, composing music instead of presentations. So, if you had a choice between pursuing a promising, solid career or a career which involved your hobby, which one would you pick? Take Bob Ross and your average, say, 9-to-5 gym, for example. How do they both differ? Now, our man, Bob Ross, he took a risk, he followed his passion, and he made an entire career out of it. His essence is perpetuated through a screen, and his artwork and processes, they can still be seen online for his fans to watch and learn, while the latter is trying to live up to society's expectations. I was watching this culinary competition where a competitor was describing her journey on how she came from a medical background to being a chef with her very own restaurant. Now, her parents, they were keen on her pursuing medicine, but obviously she had other ideas. She wanted to take up culinary. But her family was insistent. They were adamant, and they enrolled her into university. But for the entrance exam, she didn't write a single thing. Now, her obstinacy, her stubbornness, was because she was upset her parents wanted otherwise, and they forgot about her own consent, her own passion. Now, one of the reasons people continue their passion or their pursuits further is because they're highly compassionate or fascinated towards it. Study shows that 84% of our youth did not follow their passion. And I don't know about you all, but I have this nagging feeling inside me that the majority of our society, of our next generation, is out there and they're committing themselves for someone else's expectation. They're not serving anyone, not themselves, not the community. And we've become so, enveloped into these typical professions that sound promising in the long run, as well as affirming our monetary belief, but some professions not providing us the happiness we've yearned for in a job. And we've seemingly forgotten with quite the contrary. Where did taking up our hobbies as careers go? Hobbies that are bound to provide us with a feeling of contentness. Hobbies like gardening, sewing, theatrical arts, traveling. I could go on. Now, examples like these may seem unreal. Not all of us will have the opportunity to continue our passions so avidly. This could be due to restraints or displeasure from people around you. So similarly, most people initially had other careers and dreams in their mind, but due to financial constraints or setbacks, they had to pursue what came easy for them. So, where do these options go? Are we waiting for someone to start this forgotten trail? Perhaps it's because the majority of us regard these options as lowly positions. We tend to demean those who opt and follow their hobbies simply because it mayn't be as reassuring a career. We might label them as something interesting and entertaining, but not very assuring. Plus, it may seem that hobbies like these usually, it means you start to work alone at home, you work solely, and no one wants that on their conscience. Most of us want to go out and engage like the millennials we are. But this isn't the norm anymore. These abilities are rising. The abilities to grab something obscure, unheard of, and defy all those scoffs and those contemptuous opinions. Perhaps it has already clicked. Chasing your hobbies is simply a waste of time and money. It goes by this saying, if you pursue your hobby, it won't be a hobby anymore, but I beg to differ. I believe that it provides more opportunities to, engage yourself in more leisurely pursuits. The culinary field, it's rising as a popular option. What may have initially seemed to pass time, impress our neighbors with our baking skills, they've now moved into receiving tons of praise from a wider audience, learning from our competitors, publishing our own recipes, having our own TV shows, and who knows, earning a Michelin star. Now, these may seem exaggerated, but exaggerated is the new reality. Amid discouragements from, people who might regard culinary as only a hobby, these people have fought tooth and nail to reach their highest position, and their additional goal, to defy their demotivators' initial attitude towards them by, who knows, eventually serving them dishes in their very own restaurants. I've also been following artists who were raised on the typical background, the typical profile, and they had struggled to embrace the conventional 9 to 5, and they've learned to accept what came easy for them, what they wouldn't mind dedicating long hours to. They flourished into making commissions, becoming illustrators, and even storyboard artists for major production works like Disney. Wouldn't we like to base a typical day on that? Adding notches of our own creativity that, say, usually would have been disregarded in public projects? At our own pace? Our own time zone? How do we approach this proposition? Everything is easier said than done, right? I think all it'll take is a little realization and dedication to make it your final decision. You should realize your passion as this never-ending obsession, and that sometimes it may not pay much from the beginning unless you enhance it. Yes, the idea of following what you love may seem like a whim, something fanciful, something you'd say during your childhood. But your passion is this personal tranquilizer that puts your mind at ease instead of someone else's. So ask yourself, are you pursuing this for your sake and enjoyment, or for someone else's expectations? And then, by dedication, would you feel emotionally and creatively drained applying yourself to this newfound dream career when your ideas might sometimes take a turn and not always satisfy your compassionate fans? Or are you going to carry on at your own pace, produce free ideas at your own will, accepting criticism as well as understanding that you can't always live up to society's expectations? To embark on such a powerful generation while fulfilling the needs of the digital society, it may seem intimidating, Not all of us will have the leisure to practice our hobbies while at the same time swimming in the contemporary waters. So let us take the responsibility of searching for these newfound activities, searching for these activities which puts our mind at ease, and let's cultivate this newfound passion into our routine by doing more than pursuing it. Let us live our passion. Thank you.